King of Jamnagar, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who you may be familiar with the Ranji Trophy point. So he requested Ranjit Singh ji to buy a share in his company so that he could use his name. Ranjit Singh ji agreed, and our original logo was that of a cricketer. There are so many textile mills which are still not developed. Still textile mills which are lying barren, which are waiting to be developed. But you will see on the other hand, there is a phoenix.
Yes.
Which has literally been like a phoenix from the ashes. We set up Zudio on our campus about 4 years back. That time I think there were about 50 or 60 Zudios operating all over India. Today there are 850. They have concentrated only on tier 2 and tier 3 India. If I go back to Phoenix, when they began their real estate transformation, nobody wanted to go to Parel. We were scared that if we park our cars there in their car park, whether the car would still be parked after we have dinner and come back or not.
It's not every day when you get to speak with people who are running a legacy, who are taking care of a brand, taking care of a company who has been on this planet for more than 100 years. Today at Jamshri Realty, we'll be having conversation with Mr. Rajesh Damani, who would be sharing insights not just on his family business, his thoughts, and his view over the real estate industry, but much more. So be tuned for the conversation. So, sir, there are rarely any companies in this country who have crossed that century mark. Your company is one of those. And it has been a very long journey, very interesting journey. But from your perspective, I want to hear for our audiences, what's the entire story? What's the entire journey Jamshri has been going through from the last 100 years?
So I'll start at the beginning. First of all, thank you for having me. And it's a great pleasure to be here with you and discussing shop with you. Jamshri was founded in 1907 by Seth Lalji Narayanji. He was a cotton textile merchant who set up 7 or 8 mills in different parts of India, mostly the west and south. He chose Solapur because Solapur was a cotton growing area because of the black cotton soil, since it's part of the Deccan Plateau. And so he set up this mill, and he was the resident of Jamnagar. So he decided to use his hometown's name and called it Jamshri. Now the king of Jamnagar at that time was Maharaja Ranjit Singh ji, who you may be familiar with the Ranji Trophy. And he was the king of Jamnagar at that point. So he requested Ranjit Singh ji to buy a share in his company so that he could use his name. And Ranjit Singh ji agreed, and so the original name of our company was the Jamshri Ranjit Singh ji Spinning and Weaving Mills Company Limited. And our original logo was that of a cricketer, and that was Ranjit Singh ji. So since 1907 till 1955, he was this group was running the mill. Our family came into the picture on 25th August 1955, when my father completed the purchase of Jamshri. And so we've been with Jamshri since now 71 years, and Jamshri itself is 118 years old. So it's been a journey.
And like textile once was one of the biggest things that India had as an industry. And your company's legacy starts from there, but then enters in the real estate space. So how that transition has been? How did real estate came into the picture?
So textiles, like you said rightly, has been one of the oldest industries in India. Much before the British came in, much before industrialized labor came in, we were producing textiles by hand. We were exporting our textiles all over the world. And the reason being, we were always a big cotton grower. Just like you might have heard of Egyptian cotton and linen, which has been around for thousands of years. In the same way, Indian cotton and Indian fabric has been exported for thousands of years. When the British came in with the organized system of production, which is the division of labor and the industrialized economy, we started seeing mills being set up, and it was one of the biggest routes to upsell the agricultural produce of India. One of the main agricultural crops of India was cotton. This was a way to convert the cotton into higher value added product and then take it back to to the UK and then further process it and sell it back into India and other countries. So the textile industry was booming at around the beginning of the 20th century when our mills and many other mills in Mumbai and Ahmedabad and other places, Delhi, were set up. This was largely a labor-intensive industry, and so it was ideal for India because it was utilizing the agricultural produce, it was utilizing people, and it was one way of assuring jobs to people in a large scale. But over time, what happened was that government policies and largely government policies, I would say, uh, ensured the fragmentation of the industry. So what was like our mill was a composite textile mill. So were most of the mills who you've seen converted into other purposes today. And these composite mills would take cotton and produce yarn from it, and then produce fabric from it, and then process the fabric, and then sell it at their retail store. At that point, there was hardly any ready-made industry. So people would go to retail stores of textile mills and then buy those fabrics and then convert those into their garments. Also, you must remember that India was still using quite a bit of traditional garments. Like for example, for men, a dhoti and kurta was normal, which used a lot of fabric. For women, a sari was normal, which again used a lot of fabric. We progressed from that into shirts and trousers, or like t-shirts, which I'm wearing right now, or what you're wearing right now, which uses much less fabrics. We also progressed from saris to salwar kameezes and other articles which women wore, which again changed the consumption pattern. Most of all, the fabric itself changed, the fiber changed. We were mainly a country which was consuming cotton, which was not only one of the biggest agricultural producers in our country, but was also conducive to the country's climate. When you wore cotton, you could manage the Indian summer much easier. But cotton was a high maintenance fabric. If you didn't wash it well, if you didn't dry it properly, it would not really give you the best life and the best look. So then we came along with polyester and terracotta and man-made fibers. All these impacted the usage of garments, textiles and garments, and then the ready-made industry came in. Again, you started buying ready-to-use clothes, and that also impacted the industry. Along with that, you had decentralized sectors like Bhiwandi, Surat, Salem, Bhilwara. All of these were set up by individuals, and they were not under government controls. In fact, they were encouraged by most of the governments because they were individual workers who were setting up. Someone was setting up 6 looms in their backyard. Someone was setting up 8 looms. Someone was setting up a process house to manage to process the fabric which was made on those looms. So this all became very decentralized. Whereas composite mills were centralized and were paying all the taxes, paying all the duties, paying the electricity, providing for gratuity, providing for all the retirement wages for their workers. But these decentralized units were not doing all that. So obviously we became priced out. And that's why you saw around the 80s, decentralized centers like Bhiwandi or Surat or Bhilwara picking up. But traditionally, textile producing places like Mumbai or Ahmedabad or Delhi or even Solapur for that matter, which has always been a textile town, starting to drop. And so we carried on our textile production. We had 2 units. One of our units shut down in 2000. The other one we carried on production till November 2018. and then we had to call it a day and move into other businesses.
So that has been quite a story. Like how, like basically when you were answering the question, I was able to imagine how the things have changed over the years. And my next question would be, textile as an industry is very labor intensive, hundreds and thousands of people working in a plant. And then again, if you talk about real estate, it's similar, right? From the workers to multiple partners, the entire supply chain is very complex. Does someone who has experience in the textile industry getting into real estate benefits from that experience of managing people?
Absolutely. I think man management or people skills or soft skills, however you want to call that term or that set of skills, is today essential in any business. It's not just textiles. I would say even a field like IT is all about man management, because your hero in the IT industry is not the computer, it's not the server, it's not the data center, it's the person sitting there and thinking of what to do to solve the problem that he has been given to solve. It could be related to coding. Nowadays, of course, coding is more or less automated, but problem solving skills are human skills. So I think all industries today will really need good management of their workforce, of the people who are involved in that industry, sensitivity, empathy. You can't just take hard lines anymore. This was something which the textile industry has always learnt. You might have read about the Mumbai textile strike, which happened in the 80s, where there was one group of people who took a hard line.
Yes.
And that actually became the signal for the textile industry to stop over the next 4-5 years. That one stoppage actually became a death knell for the industry. And of course, that industry then transformed into something else. But man management has always been a very key factor in the textile industry. And I think we have similarities in the real estate industry. Of course, the real estate industry has a lot more components of people who are coming together for just a project and then disbanding after the project. So you may not have everybody spending 40 years with you in a real estate company. Maybe you have a group of people who are doing certain kind of activity and then moving on to another site and then moving on to a third site. So it's a different type of employment, but again, it's about people. Recently, I visited a site in Pune, and I was very surprised to see that, before the person who was developing the site, before he actually began any work on the site, his first work was to set up a colony for his workers.
Yes.
And to also set up channels of communication directly between him and his workers. And not only that, he set up a multi-story building, temporary workforce, places for housing textile, real estate
Laborers
workers.
and workers,
But he set up a multi-story thing along with facility, along with toilets, everything, very well done. And he always he was available directly to the workers, to the team leaders, to their supervisors. If they ever had a problem, they could directly approach him. So what you're saying is absolutely right. Real estate is totally dependent upon the human aspect, as are most of our businesses today. We'd like to say that, AI has come in, automation has come in, robots have come in. Ultimately, these are tools. At one point of time, the tool was the calculator. Then it became the computer. Now it's become AI. But who's behind it? How are we actually going to utilize that tool? That's where, the human impact comes in, the human aspect comes in. So
you would have seen, like, during the answer, you spoke about Mumbai's textile, like having that final days and then again transforming into something. Like today, if you try to picture Mumbai on the internet, if you Google it, the one of the best skyline images of you get is from the region where once it would be the hub for textile mills. And you would have seen that transformation happening in front of you. I want to know your perspective, your opinion, or how do you feel about it that region becoming so powerful and so well developed and being the face of the developed India today? Did you ever imagine it would turn into that?
So I'm going to start with something which is from a really old epic of ours called the Mahabharata. And in the Mahabharata, you might have read that the Pandavas were given a share in that region of Indraprasth, which is now Delhi. When they went to the space, they found it was totally, inhabitable, uninhabitable, and it was, a forest and very difficult to live in. But the same Indraprasth they converted into a palace where Duryodhan actually came in and was unable to distinguish between whether there was a floor or there was water. He was amazed to see what they had been able to do, and he was so amazed that he said, "I want this Indraprasth for myself." So, making something out of nothing is something which we've always done all through the ages. Making something out of something else is what natural progression is. We've built upon cities in the past. You might have seen the Indus Valley civilization. It was a mound, and under that mound there was more and there was more. You might have seen or read about what has happened with Dwarka and the ASI surveys there. There has been 7 or 8 layers of Dwarka which they've found. If you go to Italy, you go to the, they take you on a walk around Rome and they show you the layers of Rome. It's literally like a sandwich. You can see there's a railway station where they actually show they've kept it preserved.
Yes, under glass,
and you can see 7 layers of civilization, one under the other. So that's human nature. We learn how to survive. We learn how to thrive. So when the textile industry, started fading away, this was something which came in, but there were different responses to this. So you will see there are so many textile mills which are still not developed. There are still textile mills which are lying barren, which are waiting to be developed. But you will see on the other hand there is a phoenix, which has literally been like a phoenix from the ashes, and taken development to a new level, and not only in terms of the kind of brands they've attracted, the quality of construction, all of that is right up there with the best. But apart from that, you look at the kind of people who've invested into Phoenix. You're talking about Canadian retirement funds. They are some of the biggest funds in the world. They don't really invest so easily into such projects, but they've been one of the most loyal investors to Phoenix projects, which means that it has been a journey which has seen remarkable change and exhibited remarkable results. Other industries have also tried that. You will see on either side of Phoenix, there are other textile mills which also tried the same thing. For some reason, they could not get it as right as how Phoenix got it. If there was one company which actually, or one campus which actually shifted the center of Mumbai, it is Phoenix.
That was, Phoenix.
So today, whatever you see in Parel is a large part of that credit is because of the foresight and the passion and the pursuit of excellence that Phoenix had. I mean, if I had a guru, it would be Phoenix.
So Ruya family always has been very important in Mumbai's history, and obviously that word that you said, like, shifted the magnetic gravity of the city. That's true.
Yeah.
Aaj sab Parel mein hi hai.
Yes.
And so Mumbai always, like, at least for the past 200 years or so, has been an important urban center. But there in Maharashtra, there have been clusters. Solapur is one of those clusters which has been having that importance for many centuries now. And your company has a history over there. So I want to know from you, obviously Mumbai has its thing, but is tier 2 also something which now in the growing India has to be focused on?
So again, I'd like to go back to Mumbai. What is Mumbai? I mean, today, my grandfather shifted to Mumbai from Bikaner in the 1930s. He was 11 or 12 when he came to Mumbai in search of both studying some education as well as in search of work. because he didn't really have that much work in Bikaner. And so he was just one of the many crores of people who have come to Mumbai since then in search of a better future. So these people we were not from Mumbai. Neither are, I would say, probably 60% of Mumbai is migrant.
100.
But where have they migrated from? They have migrated from cities like Solapur for better futures, which means that the talent has never been the issue. It only means that the platform in smaller cities was just not there. And that's why you went to the places where the platform was available, like Mumbai. And now with digital connectivity, physical connectivity, so much happening everywhere. I mean, today Solapur is 400 kilometers from Mumbai, but it's connected by Vande Bharat, it's connected by scores of trains. In fact, all trains going south go towards Solapur. It's connected by a flight. So there are so many multiple options to reach Solapur. There's also the huge benefit or the huge transformation which has come about because of digital connectivity. So everybody has now access to the same information. Everybody knows the same, has the same knowledge, has the same exposure. It's no longer that Mumbai, if you come to Mumbai, you will have more idea about for example, the stock market. You can sit in Solapur or sit in any other tier 2 city and play the stock market in the same way as someone else in Mumbai is doing it. And you have absolutely no time lag or information lag as compared to a metro city. So I feel that given the rapidly deteriorating infrastructure and the environment challenges that we are facing in metros, not just Mumbai, but even Pune, many other cities which have developed all over India, people are now actively looking at going to places where they can enjoy better quality of life and a lower cost of living and still do the same work. I feel that tier 2 and tier 3 is a viable alternative even for companies who want to address those. I'll just give you an example. A brand like Zudio. We set up the Zudio on our campus about 4 years back. At that time, I think there were about 50 or 60 Zudios operating all over India. Today, there are 850, maybe more than that. And they've concentrated only on tier 2 and tier 3 India. I'm sure that with brand strategy and the information and the knowledge pool that Tatas have, they must have done their homework before making such a big play into the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And what we see on a daily basis in Solapur and in other tier 3 cities is the level of aspiration is now the same as it is in the metros. So you have a lot less expense for your daily life. You have a lot less time spent in commuting. You have a better quality of life, better AQI for that matter, which is now the buzzword. Everybody is checking their AQI on their phone. But along with that, if you can have a better earning platform, I think the next 10, 15 years in India are going to be dominated by the tier 2, tier 3 landscape, which is emerging. And I think it will keep us competitive in the future. And as we go on, companies to stay competitive will have to go to the source rather than the migration of the individual to the cities. Now you will have the migration of the companies to the smart towns or to the tier 2, tier 3 cities to chase better costs, better talent, better life.
As of now, it's said like in the states that are on the higher end of development, almost half of our population has become urban. And one thing in real estate, we always say location, location, location. But from many people have now been hearing that apart from location, the most important thing for the growth of real estate in any city is migration. And do you think because the urban landscape of India is getting all that big chunk of population from our interiors now into cities as we develop as a country, Solapur would be also one of those hubs where we would see a huge chunk of migration coming in for work, and therefore the real estate demand and the basically appetite for that city would grow?
Yeah, so I think not only Solapur, but any tier 3 city which has good physical and digital connectivity, which has a good educational hub where talent can be nurtured, is a great candidate for the future. Because today we are in a knowledge economy.
Yes.
We are not anymore in an economy where people are mindlessly working for 8 hours, 10 hours. That work has already been automated. So the next wave of workers is going to be people who can think on their feet, who can think out of the box, who can use the tools, whether it's AI or whether it's computers or whatever other automated tools they have access to, and make the most out of it. So I feel that hunger to succeed is reflecting in tier 3 cities much more. I'll just give you another example of sport. We briefly chatted about Mr.
Yes.
Dhoni and how a person from Ranchi who was having a double occupation, one as a cricketer and one as a ticket collector, went on to become one of the most celebrated cricketers and captains of India. But he was never afraid or reticent about talking about his hometown. His hometown meant everything to him. Even today, he loves going back to his hometown, which means that for a person who had the money to buy a house anywhere in the world, why would he choose to go back to his hometown? There is a attraction about a hometown that we cannot really pin down. It's not just about what brands are available, what kind of roads are available. It's more than that, because it's the place you grew up. It's also got your memories. It's got your own the treasures which are not really put in safe deposit lockers. And that's the reason I feel that smaller cities are also hungry for success. At the same time, they have all these other benefits going for them, like better quality of life, lower cost of living. At Jamshri, we are trying to implement something called clean living as a service. And so just like how you have software as a service, we had this idea that why don't we look at something outside the box, literally. Real estate is all about building concrete boxes.
Yes.
So if we can build something which is beyond the box, and I would say the 4 luxuries of life today are clean water, clean air, clean food, and clean power. If we can provide these luxuries as part of our bundle of services, then I think we would have really, touched people's lives, the ones who are going to be probably buying houses from us. I think that's going to be important in the future as we become more and more aware what kind of world are we leaving behind for our children. I'm already hearing so many young kids or people in your age group as well speaking of whether they should have children or not. And why are they asking this question? Because they're inside, I think they're also frightened of what kind of world we're going to leave these children in. So I think it's up to us to, be the change we wish to see. And if we keep blaming our governments and our municipalities, I think it just doesn't cut the deal. It's our responsibility to manage our garbage. It's our responsibility to manage our sewage. If we get into it, get our hands dirty, I'm sure we'll come out much cleaner.
So do you think like the qualities that we need to basically inculcate in our living standards, do you think customers are already moving in that trajectory? Even in your projects, you would have experienced customers demanding such things that, yeah, rest all things are fine, but we also need these sustainable things, the clean lifestyle things. Is it already happening? And if it's happening, how much chunk of the audience it would be who are demanding these things actively?
So I think it's like something which you will not refuse if you're offered. But something you might not demand on the table because you're scared of what prices you're going to pay. So as a purchaser, you might ask for the normal additions, like say a clubhouse or a walking track or many of the things which developers are adding to their process. But are you going to ask for better quality of life? If are people used to that demand, or are people used to making that demand? I think not yet. But people are waking up to that idea that they need a better quality of life, especially for their kids. And the children are going to show us the way. I feel children, just to give you an example, 25 years back, how long did Diwali fireworks last?
Almost a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last year, how long did Diwali fireworks last?
Till it was Diwali.
It's only because of the education that we spread amongst the children. So as our education starts making children sensitized about the environment, that impact is going to change everything. And not only I'm not talking from education, with respect to education, I'm not just talking about the formal education that you learn in a school, but say a YouTube channel like yours.
Yes.
You don't need a school to educate yourself anymore. I mean, I love history, I love archaeology. I never got to learn it. But now, I mean, practically daily, whenever I get a free moment, I keep checking up on the channels which I like to follow for archaeology, for history, just to educate myself. And there is no degree to be earned, there is no certificate to be got, but this is going to be, this availability of knowledge has transformed our country and the world, is going to be transformative even for the next 5-10 years. Schools are going to be an add-on. Your real education is going to come from outside the school, what you're exposing yourself to, how you're going to be absorbing all that information, and then how you're going to process it. So I feel, coming back to your question, as this movement of talking about sustainability, talking about better choices, another example I'm giving you, 3 years back or 4 years back, if I had said for you to give someone young in your family a Bonvita, would you think it was a healthy choice or not?
No, obviously not.
Today you don't.
Yeah, but maybe 10 years ago, no. Yeah, I would have
But because of social media,
yes,
you have now, most people have got that
Educated.
message that has gone out in to crores of people. This never happened. This has never happened in our past before. So the same thing goes for, say, chemicals and pesticides in our crops. The same thing goes for power, which is produced in the wrong, with so many other pollutants coming into it. The same thing goes for maybe water. When we are using water, for example, you're using RO water. RO water, do you know what is the proportion of water processed by RO water and what is the proportion thrown?
Oh, I'm not aware.
So it's about 30 to 40% of water is actually drinkable. The rest of the water is actually processed and sent into the drain.
Okay.
If you're doing it on an industrial level, maybe it's 50-50. But imagine you're losing 50% of water, and you're already the most scarce resource in the world today, after oil, has now become water. So water is supposedly the new oil, and battles are being fought on water. So I feel that this information needs to go to people to help them make better choices. Once they are educated in this respect, why will they not make a better choice?
Yes. And obviously, the number of people having that knowledge from the sources we have today will keep on increasing. So obviously, it will reflect in the society as well.
So today, when we talk about going viral, it's very different from having a viral 20 years back.
Yes.
20 years back, you would call your doctor if you went viral.
Correct.
And today, you would like to go viral because you want your post to become viral. So basically, information explodes in a very different way today because of the social media, because of the internet. Your reach can become compounded in a much shorter period of time. Earlier, for example, companies used to advertise in the newspapers. It was mostly blind.
Yes.
You would imagine that there would be a consumer who would read that advertisement on that page of that newspaper that you
No
were,
data to
or you
have a
would
feedback.
put
Yeah.
it on a hoarding and you would imagine that the motor cars which were stopping at that signal would look at that hoarding. Is it that way anymore?
Mhm.
Now it's totally targeted.
Yes.
Everybody knows which audience they want to address, and they will only market it for that audience. And they'll also have analytics
Yes.
as to how many people really saw it, how many people saw the full video, how many people saw it at 1.25x, all of those things.
Yes. So obviously it's changing. Acha, tell me one thing again in real estate point of view. How does a customer from a city like Solapur behave differently, maybe compared to a city like Mumbai, like a customer between Mumbai and someone from Solapur? What's the preferences? What they're comfortable with? Any insights on that?
So, customer from Mumbai is buying a flat which is maybe 3 or 4 times more expensive than a customer from
Easily.
Solapur.
Yeah.
That's, I think, the basic difference. Uh, of course, purchasing power is different in Mumbai, purchasing power is different in Solapur, because earning power is different in Mumbai and earning power is different in Solapur for the average person. But all said and done, I think a person in Solapur is today as informed or maybe better informed than a person living in Mumbai. He is very savvy. Uh, Indians have this ability of finding the best deals wherever they go. They know when they make choices for even such a small thing like a refrigerator or a mobile phone. You will not only check the net for the reviews, you'll also ask your friends. If someone's got an electronics shop, you'll ask them also, how is this doing? What is happening? So that's our nature as purchasers. That's why I think we have got different categories for our marketing. Brands who are marketing in India, FMCG brands or even electronics brands or home products, they're all looking at India in a different way than they are at other countries. In the other countries, the herd mentality is what dominates. If one person buys an X brand refrigerator and it becomes a trend, then everybody will go in and buy that same refrigerator. I don't think that's the same in India.
Mm.
India, people pride themselves on being different.
Yes.
That, you bought this, I did this better. That's how the conversation starter is that way. In most of the times that you're traveling the same route, someone else is traveling by another option, and they'll explain you why that option is better than your option. So as a result, I think the Indian purchaser is well informed. No, you're not going to get decision making done on whimsical or spontaneous basis. They normally make decisions like house purchasing after a lot of thought. Uh, in Solapur or tier 3 cities like Solapur, I think the thought stands out more because uh, the capital invested is a big part of that person's earnings, and it's more difficult to earn money in a smaller city. So, given all that, people are more demanding, I would say, in smaller cities for better solutions. But if you're offering better solutions and if you're ready to go the extra mile, I think people are there to notice that extra effort, the extra facilities. We've seen that happen in our campus already in the short 7 years that we've experienced as a real estate developer for facilities, because we've not yet done any residential development. We've done mostly commercial development. But for example, we developed a club. When we developed the club, we did not want to have any compromises. We did not want to have anything less than a metro standard. So we decided we'll call one of the best club operators from Pune, and they were reluctant to come to Solapur because they felt that the customers in Solapur may not be fully able to appreciate and pay for their quality of experience. But all of us have been pleasantly surprised that we've had now some of the best results in almost all of their clubs have come from this in this campus of Solapur, which we've set up with along with them, and they are running it for us. They work with the Rahejas, they work with Hiranandani's. The company's name is Elysium, And so now we've got 650 members, 800, 1,800 users of our club. And every day, I think there's an attendance of 300 plus people who come and use our club. So they've built a community around it. But when we set it up, everybody thought that, what are we doing? So I feel markets today are very surprising in the level of maturity that they are already uh, exposed to in terms of information and knowledge. So I feel we should take Solapur in the same way as a mature Bombay market and treat them as a Mumbai customer. And then I'm sure smaller towns will all have such customers.
So the demand is already there, the supply needs to be catered.
I feel it's just waiting for the right product or service to come in.
So how Jamshri is basically playing a part in that role? How you guys are, like, what are you coming up with in Solapur?
So what we decided was, if I had to again go back, I think Phoenix has been a very big example and very big learning, continues to be a very big learning for us. If I go back to Phoenix, when they began their real estate transformation, nobody wanted to go to Parel. I remember when Phoenix began its first bowling company, and they began Big Bazaar, and they began a club where, a lounge kind of place. We were scared that if we park our cars there in their car park, whether the car would still be parked after we have dinner and come back or not, or we enjoy the bowling or not. So when they began with that impression, they were at a negative, not even at a zero level.
Yes.
And they managed to change that perception. So in the same way, when we stopped our textile activity, this was hardly, we are 1 kilometer from the city center, we are 1 kilometer from the railway station, but everybody felt, why should we go there? So we began doing customer facing activities. Like we set up our own banquets, we set up our own restaurant, we set up this club, we set up some retail, high street retail. So one by one, people's footfalls have started coming to the club, to the campus. And now we have, I think, on an average about between 2,500 to 3,000 visitors to our campus every day, which used to be 50 till 7 years back when we were in textiles.
That's 100x jump.
So yeah, it was a different game, different strategies. And now I think is the right time for us to, build on that base that we've created. Of course, it's taken more time to do that, but I feel that's the only way that one can play the real estate game, which is with patience. Like my dad has always told me, the P in property also stands for patience. So if you don't have that patience, then don't get into real estate, because real estate is not about a 2 or 3 year journey. It is always about a longer term journey, and it's always about long term enrichment and long term appreciations.
What's more difficult according to you, doing textile or doing real estate?
So I think, it's a textile industry was a commoditized industry. So you were selling something which other people were also selling. If I was selling, for example, a sari, there may have been 300 people in our district itself who were selling saris. So you had to differentiate yourself. In real estate also, you have to differentiate yourself. So I'm talking about what is similar first. Yeah. What is different, I feel, of course, is the transaction time. To buy and sell a sari, or to buy and use and throw away a sari, is a much smaller time frame.
Yes.
To buy and sell a house or a flat, or rent a place of business like an office or a shop, is a much longer process. It requires a lot of patience. It requires a lot of due diligence. You don't need due diligence to buy clothes, but you need a due diligence to buy a property or sell a property. To hope for improvement because of using a product is immediate in a textile industry. But to hope for improvement because of using a product in the real estate industry, is going to take time.
Yeah.
If you're shifting into a new house, from tomorrow you're not going to see an improvement in your health because you've chosen the house because of its location and better atmosphere. But it will take time. It will take time. It will take your effort, your family's effort in order to show results. So it's a much longer, slow burn game as compared to, say, a textile industry, which is quick, quick results to the whole effort of making the product, selling it, using it, then replacing it.
And then what's the fun thing or the better thing in real estate which is not there in the textile industry?
I think the ability to impact people's lives. I mean, the ability to impact somebody's life by getting them a better shirt. How much of an impact is that?
Very short term, yeah.
But the ability to be able to ensure a better future for a family by giving them, say, clean water and clean air and clean power and clean food. I think there's a concept which we've been sort of playing around with in our company. Ankit and I, my son and I, we've been talking about it. The concept is called mudita. The Sanskrit word mudita. It's one of the four pillars of Buddhism. And mudita means finding joy in the joy of others.
Okay.
So I think that's what real estate is really all about. It's not about, selling your house for the best possible rate, selling a flat for the best possible earnings. That's all part of the game. But in the end, if that customer is happy, if they have joy in their house, that's how your brand is actually going to be built. Because they will talk about it to other people, they will have a good experience, and that's how your journey will progress. So finding joy in the joy of others, or mudita, I feel is a very key concept for us to keep learning from and to keep circling back to whenever we are making efforts. That is this actually adding value to somebody and making them happy? If not, then why are we doing it?
My next question is basically the next 10 years, how do you see real estate as a whole industry transforming and Jamshri as a part of it moving ahead with the industry?
So, before I get to the future, let me just talk a little bit about what Jamshri has been doing. Of course, as you know, we've been in developing real estate for the last 7 years. But what's surprising is we have not developed even 1 square foot of new real estate. Over the last 7 years, we have reused and done an adaptive reuse of all the existing real estate that was hand-me-down from our industrial days. So we converted our industrial buildings into commercial, and that's how we began our journey. Now, because of that, of course, we had a significant environmental impact. We were able to save a lot more carbon dioxide, and we were able to do a lot more rainwater harvesting. We have now more than 60,000 square feet of open rainwater harvesting on our campus. We have about 1.5 megawatts of solar panels on our rooftop. We have a 1 crore liter store of water on our campus. So these 7 years have actually started preparing us for our future. Now we are running out of space which we've already made. We've already almost let out. By June, I think we will be completely letting out all the space that we had, which means now we need to start thinking about the future, for which we've started a master planning exercise, because we want to do it in a proper phased manner with planning as to what the MEP requirements would be, what where the zoning should be, where the phasing should be, basically where we should do what and when we should do what. And so we've appointed a master planner from an experienced architect firm from Pune to do that. Post which, probably the next 7 to 10 years, we will see the utilization of our campus's abilities and potential. Not only our own campus here, we will also look at other tier 3 cities and try to take the experience of what we've learned in the last 7 years to other tier 3 cities who are also searching for aspiration fulfilling campuses like ours, and create such such spaces in other tier 3 cities of India.
So that's actually a vision has been laid, is what's the thought you have put in my mind, and that's very important because many companies are basically कल के लिए देखते हैं परसों का नहीं पता.
So basically, when we talked about legacy,
Mm-hmm.
it just taking me back to the same legacy.
Yes.
When I told you that Lalji Narayanji set up 8 textile mills,
Mm-hmm.
we would like to set up such more
Examples,
such
yeah.
townships at different places, maybe with like-minded people who understand the value of what we're trying to do, and we would like to stay honest and give good experiences to our clients or whoever visits our campus. Just a small thing which I'd like to share. So we have now just launched a pickup and drop service for women.
Hmm.
So we have, I think, almost all stores you walk into, about 60% of the store space is allotted to the female shopper.
Hmm.
So women are the bigger shoppers.
Yes.
So men and children are about 30 to 40% usually in the format, and 60% is for females. And so we thought, why not extend this in our city? And we have now a special WhatsApp number which any lady can call or message and book a ride. We'll send our car there. She would be picked up, she would be brought to our campus, she would shop and then go back, be dropped back. The reason is we want to make the experience better than the transaction. Everybody wants to do, transactional experiences we are doing all day. You're doing it even online. But imagine if that woman is having a difficult time maybe coming to the campus because her husband is busy or because she doesn't want to come in the sun, and this gives her a chance to come and finish her shopping when maybe her children are away at school, her husband's at office, or she's got some free time on her hands. She can use that time to come in and go back. She doesn't have any reasons to not come. So instead of getting people to the campus, we're trying to take the campus to the people. So such kind of initiatives, I feel, these are small initiatives, but in small towns, these make big differences.
Yes.
So we want such small initiatives to flower in other cities as well. These are the kind of things which people, beyond the transaction, what stays on in your mind is this. So recently I was staying at the Taj at Delhi, and when we checked out, they gave us a takeaway, a giveaway, small giveaway. It was in a paper bag, and when I opened it, it was a small ball of mud, dried mud. And I asked them, what's this? They said, this is mud and we've got tulsi seeds wrapped in it. And I said, why have you given this? They said, because we want you to grow that in your house, and this is from us to you. So look at the depth of that. And this is a luxury hotel and one of the most respected brands. So when we spoke earlier about legacy, I think this is what legacy really means. When legacy is reflected in actions as trusteeship. So this junior person who gave me at the Taj this gift knew all about it. He knew what he was talking. He knew what the importance of the gift was. He also knew that it was all packed in eco-friendly packaging. No plastic had been used. It was all paper packaging. And that's the kind of experience that one should take back with them when you're coming to a campus like, say, Jamshri. So we'd like to create more Jamshris like this, and hope that India can give us some space to do that, give us some platform to do that.
My final question, just because the answer was so interesting, do you think a big chunk of real estate now, in the listed and non-listed both spaces, has become so like corporatized? Excel sheets में काम हो रहा है, basically laptop से पूरी company चल रही है, and that is somehow affecting the human touch in many projects these days. It feels like shopping for any other thing, any other plans. And your company having that legacy behind is actually giving your company an USP to bring that human touch, bring that guardianship for your own brand name?
So I think, you're very right. The human experience is what we all live for. We do have to understand that an Excel sheet or a calculation or a projection is necessary because businesses are around to make profits, to grow, and you need to have that aspect. You just like you have Lakshmi and Saraswati, both coexisting.
Yes.
In the same way, so Lakshmi is the one who gives you wealth and who ensures your prosperity. We all pray to her at Diwali. But on the same Diwali puja, in the same place, is also Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge and the goddess of wisdom. She is not giving us wealth. She is giving us something which is not definable.
Yes.
But we still worship her. So in the same way, you need both in order to survive. You need to, of course, have a grip on your targets. You need to have a grip on your costs. You need commercial viability to be able to scale. At the same time, you also need the human touch. You need something beyond commercial viability, which people can recognize. Just give you a small example. On our campus now, we have, since the last couple of years, we've got a flutist.
Okay.
He comes and plays every evening. Because when I grew up as a kid, when I used to go to Solapur to do the Diwali puja, my dad used to send me to do the puja there, and he thought that was, one very indirect way of ensuring my connection to the space, which was very right. It actually turned out to be true. So when I used to go there, the puja was always held in something called the Godhuli Bela. The Godhuli Bela means when you're washing the cows,
Okay.
which is usually evening time. And it's in the evening that Krishna used to play his flute. So the flute is basically a very calming space.
Yes.
Calms the whole space
Yes.
around you. So we decided that in the evening, why not have from 6 to 8 flute playing. Now we have actually an audience. People come there to just sit and listen to the flute. Maybe not to shop, maybe not to eat, but just to come and chill.
Yes.
And listen to the flute. This used to be India. This used to be probably under a tree at one time, and we want to actually do it again under a tree again. But this is the part of India that needs to be revived or kept alive along with the Excel sheets, like you said. We need the Excel sheets. We need the corporatization. We need viability. We need scalability. All of that is important. Lakshmi is important, but we also need Saraswati.
What do you enjoy more? I can say what you enjoy more, but I would like to hear from you. Which part of the business?
I think I would like Lakshmi to enable Saraswati.
Oh, that's a perfect answer.
Because on the pyramid, you first have Lakshmi, but on the top of the pyramid is Saraswati.
Yes.
That's where you don't need money, but you still need something. You're seeking for something. Your mind is seeking for satisfaction. So money is not satisfaction. We've seen that in so many economies all around the world, that more money leads to more problems. In India, thankfully, we've always nurtured this side. If you go to any of the old temples, you will see sabhas, where they used to have performances of art, of music, all over the year, all around the year. So it was always a celebration. India has always been a celebration using Saraswati. So I think we all have it in us. It's not just me. We are a nation which has always been built on Saraswati along with Lakshmi. It's only that we've forgotten it sometimes. Bright lights, big cities make us forget. But the same bright lights in big cities will make us remember.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insightful conversation. And I wish Jamshri and you all the best. And we hope that the legacy and the growth goes hand in hand.
Well, thanks so much for this conversation. I don't think I've had this kind of heart-to-heart for a long time with anybody. So thank you so much for bringing out that aspect. But I think you're doing a great job in, extracting this kind of information or views or, conversation with people. Please go on doing that, because this is going to be inspirational for so many people to, take them to where they need to go. Like I said, social media is the new education, is the new educator. So you're not just a person with the channel, you're also enriching the landscape, and you're part of the Saraswati.
Well, I'm just the enabler in between. Sources are from your side, and the pleasure has been all ours. Thank you.
Likewise, likewise. Thank you. All the best.